I am just in so much shock because I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. Apparently, Mercy Gono Flomo has been beating and physically abusing and attacking her fiance's children. I mean, seriously, how can you come into a guy's life? You barely know his children because, like, from what they were saying, it's that they were family friends or something for 10 years or 20 years or whatever. So she wasn't involved with his ex-wife. She didn't know his ex-wife. She didn't know his kids. How can you come into somebody's life and think that you should be allowed to hit and beat his children? You don't even know how the mom plans to parent her kids. She don't do corporal punishment, or she don't do any violence towards her kids, So from what I hear, she's been so violent towards him. She's been beating him up because she saw that he was the type of guy that wouldn't put his paws on a woman. But I think she broke him when she went for his child. So apparently she went for his child once again, and this time when she went for his child, he grabbed her up, he snatched her up, and he was like, "You put your hands on my kid, it's gonna be me and you." And that's when she called the police, and that's where the domestic violence incident is coming from that happened apparently 7 months ago. But because she knew that Gerald was never violent to her, never hit her, never did any domestic abuse to her, she and her little daughter that's 2 years old stayed in this man's house. Because if this man was abusive, guess what? She wouldn't have kept her 2-year-old daughter in his house. But because she knew that she was the one that was violent, that she was the one that apparently has a history of beating kids and being violent towards the kids. For me, I draw the line when it comes to the kids. When it comes to the kids, that's where I draw the line. Like, do whatever you're doing, like beating up on this guy and coming online on YouTube telling your lies because you want to retain your subscribers, because that's where you make your money. I get that, so you always have to play like you're the victim. But when I found out that she's beating the children, shout out to that person that came into my inbox, into my DMs, to give me that little tidbit, to give me that little news about what is actually going on and why nothing is making sense, and why she and Harmony is talking in this cryptic messages like, oh, they have something that they're going to expose. If that was so real, the domestic violence case was so real, she would have brought that out a long time ago. But because she knows she's using that, she used the police in her little manipulative game to keep Gerald, because that's how I feel. I feel like she did this whole thing to have something against him, to blackmail him. Now I'm going to tell everybody that you beat me up too. Like, why is everybody trying to beat you up? What is the deal with you? Everywhere where you go, there's domestic violence. Before you come into people's lives, they don't have any cases of domestic violence. They've never been violent towards women. They're loving towards women. They love their kids. They're loving towards their mothers, their sisters. They're raised well. You come into their lives and all of a sudden they're beating up women every single time. Who is the common denominator? Let's not play games. Let's not play stupid. Who is the common denominator? It's this girl. I would understand if this man had priors of having domestic violence, and I would say, oh, you know what? Maybe she's just had bad luck and she's been ending up with men with domestic violence. But the thing is, you come into this guy's life, he has a house, he has a career, he has everything going for himself, he has custody of his children, he has a good relationship with his ex-wife. They're friendly towards each other. His parents are in his life. His mother's in his life. His sister's in his life. His brothers are in his life. Mercy Flomo comes into his life. All of a sudden, he loses his houses. He has to hand his houses over to her. He has to, he loses his career. He loses custody of his children. He now has a criminal record. Like, man, the list goes on and on and on. Like, in 1 year, this girl came and destroyed this guy's life. Not only did she destroy his life, she tried to attack his children. She tried to attack his child. And that's apparently where this domestic violence thing is coming from. And like I said, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. If this man was really violent, do you guys think Mercy would have stayed with her 2-year-old child in this man's house if he was beating women and was violent towards women? She was 3 months into this relationship, because if you think about it, count. If they say he's been fired from Chase for 7 months and he was fired because of this domestic violence thing that came on his name, that means he was domestic violent towards Mercy 3 months into their gig, 3 months into their little relationship. If he was really domestic violent, why didn't she pack up her child and leave? You want to tell me she kept her child in a household where a man was violent? Make it make sense, please. Make it make sense, because otherwise Nandi need to come on board, because you need to get custody of your child and get some child support going. Because if she's staying in a house with a man that's violent, then clearly she's not a competent parent. She's not a competent primary caregiver if a man was violent towards her and she stayed in the house with him. She better start revealing and opening up police reports that says that she went after this guy's child once again, and that's when he snatched her up and said, "Whoa, you are not hitting my child one more time." And then she used her powers as a woman to call the police and say, "Oh, he beat me." Because she knows, why would the police believe a black man? Why would the police believe a black man? Black man. Of course they're arresting him. Of course they're taking him. They're not even paying attention to the fact that he's never ever been arrested for domestic violence before this woman came into his life. Now, all of a sudden, in 1 year, he now has domestic violence against his name because she tried to snatch up his child. And now she's out here having Harmony put out stupid stories that Gerald was violent in high school. Like, girl, come on. You guys are so lame. They're so lame at what they're doing. "Oh, I found a girl that he went to high school with, and she said, oh, he teased me and he pulled my hair and he tried to take my lunch." Come on, idiots. I cannot stand these people. They're so stupid. Their way of fighting and arguing is so on a low level. They're trying to create smoke so that we can't focus on what's really going on. And from what I found out, what's really going on is that Mercy has been violent towards this man's kids, and his kids got taken away from that whole situation. The ex-wife doesn't want the kids around that situation. That is very interesting, but I'm still looking to get all the proof. I want to get all the police reports. I want to see all of this in writing, because apparently there's a police report out there about domestic violence, but there's also a police report out there that she was violent towards his kids. Until then, I'm going to say allegedly. And once I have those things and I can put it on the screen, I'm going to do just that. In the meantime, guys, I'm out. Toodles.